Hello, everybody. It's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World War II World at War. It is July of 1942, and the situation is complicated. We've conquered some of our Pacific territories that we need to take in order to hold the Americans off and kind of continue the expansion of the Japanese Empire. We've taken Indochina, and we've driven deep into China. In fact, we're almost on the verge of taking Chongqing, as well as driving into the inner part of China toward Langkao and other Chinese capitals. With that being said, the British are starting to send Indian reserves into China and fighting us there. And the campaign in Singapore hasn't gone on all that well either, because we haven't been able to take Singapore yet, despite not a ton of heavy resistance. We just haven't really had a whole lot of success there. We have taken the northern tip of Borneo, although we haven't been able to get into the Dutch East Indies, and we're well past our conquer-by dates for those locations. So we'll see how things play out, but so far it's a bit of a mixed bag in the Pacific theater. With that being said, in the European theater, things both went worse and better than historical for the Nazis there. As you can see here, we're on the verge of Moscow. We forego. We went without the historical drive on Stalingrad, although we are driving a little bit here in the south and threatening the Caucasus a bit with some forces here. Probably not enough strength to do any serious damage, but at least a diversion here in the south, while the bulk of our strength is up here in the north. With that being said, that's the situation. July 1942, we've already done our turn. So at this stage, it's really just time to let the AI have a go and see how things play out. So let's go ahead and actually, do we want to move any of these aircraft closer to their targets? I suppose. Do we have anything that can fly closer? I think we did all of our bombing strikes, and those guys can't fly closer, and these guys are probably already close enough. I suppose we'll leave everybody as is. Pull these Italians back. Yeah, so I think we'll leave things as is at the moment and go ahead and progress to the next turn. So let's go ahead and jump forward. Soviet partisans hinder Axis supply, and another Soviet unit forms itself in the rear of our lines in Russia. That seems to happen a lot more in Russia than it does anywhere else. You can see the incomes popping up, and now we're ready to await the onslaught of the Allied turn. I think, did I forget about Finland again this turn? I can't remember. It's always so easy to forget about Finland. All India Congress Committee calls on the British to quit India. Gandhi and his leaders are arrested for being pro-Axis. I think that's what it said. And new reserves have moved into the Chinese capital at Chongqing. Meanwhile, enemy submarines are operating near Singapore. We really need to see if we can blow those guys to smithereens. New Soviet forces here launching, or at least moving into position. Haven't quite launched counterattacks against our armor here in the south. Part of the problem here is we've been advancing all summer and we haven't been pausing to take reinforcements. So now a lot of these units are starting to bleed out a bit, and we don't really have sufficient forces, or sufficient time, I guess is the better way, to reinforce them. The Soviets feel like they're getting stronger, although I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think they just have a lot of units, because if we look at the actual income per turn, we've definitely been destroying more Soviet units than have been should have been able to be replaced based on the income figures for the Soviet Union. We've been killing more dollars worth of units than they've been receiving in terms of monthly income. So I think that means they're getting weaker. I hope that means they're getting weaker. Meanwhile, there's a stalemate here in North Africa. Haven't been able to make much progress there. Soviet bombers trying to go after our tanks. We've got some interceptors there, but they still did a little bit of damage. British bombers are now in China. At least we've got quite a bit of Japanese air forces in China as well. Lots of artillery that the Allies have in China, and a fair bit of armor, but it's all pretty much obsolete armor. I think this is a level 2 tank. It looks like a Grant tank, so I'm assuming that's a level 2. But Other than that, the other guys are all like really, really light units. The Italian army there taking a bit of damage, down to a level 2. If they have another unit to throw at it in North Africa, it'll probably get destroyed. Whoa! That British army just badly damaged that Japanese corps. Soviet armies counterattacking out here west of Moscow and not doing very well, actually, losing quite a few casualties without killing anything. There appears to be a Soviet shock army on our northern flank. I don't really know what a shock army is, by the way. There's heavy tanks, and there's mechanized units, but I don't know what a shock army is. I don't know if that's supposed to be a more mechanized unit. We've seen 2 of them now, and we did destroy one of them relatively easily the first time we saw it. I really wish that tank would fall back. It's down to level 3 strength. It's a very good tank, but I don't want to have it destroyed. Soviet partisans attacking our headquarters unit at Smolensk. It'll be the end of August when our next turn starts. Doesn't look to me like the gameplay audio is recording. I'm not sure why. So if you're not getting the audio for this, I apologize. The AI is taking quite a while to think about things. Some ops movements and some reinforcements by the look of it. Additional Indian troops showing up here in the southern front. I wonder if they're able to even supply the troops down there. The supply lines here in the southern portion of the southern portion of China are not very good. So they may not be able to effectively supply their troops down there. One other thing we need to start thinking about is the eventual American invasion of either Europe or North Africa. We haven't really seen much American involvement since the outbreak of war, but I imagine they will probably launch Operation Torch or something similar around the historical time frame. So I don't think we have to worry about it this turn, but we probably do need to worry about it in a turn or two. Let's see. These guys going to do anything here? Mexico's joining the Allies. Brazil's joining the Allies. So 2 more Central American countries joining the Allies. Axis raiders disrupting UK convoys. Another dust storm in Egypt, which is going to knock out the use of our Air Force. I mean, we're doing well enough in holding the... If it wasn't for this depression down there, we wouldn't be able to hold the Allies in North Africa. But with the depression, we're holding them relatively easily. Actually, the Italians helped out there quite a bit. We disrupted 53 industrial points worth of supply that turn. That's pretty significant. The Musashi for Japan is ready. So another Japanese battleship is ready for sea. Japanese destroyers. I need more destroyers as Japan. I don't have enough to deal with all the enemy submarines. You know, I'm kind of thinking maybe it's just better off to try and land some troops here on Java. These guys are SNLEF. Problem is these guys can't reach, so I'm going to put multiple units ashore, or try to. I don't know what to do. I would like... Maybe I can shelter these guys in here, like put other ships around them to prevent the enemy from being able to get at them. I mean, I can't do anything right now because of the rain in the Dutch East Indies. At least not anything with my carriers. So I'm going to kind of shield this amphibious force behind my carriers, so they got to go between the carriers and me to get to them. Meanwhile, we'll roll those tanks down there. All right, and there you go. We've just destroyed the British unit here at Kota Bharu. Our armor is moving down toward the tip of the peninsula, of the Malay Peninsula, and we should be at the doorstep of Singapore here in the next turn. We'll see what our battleships can do down here. One of the things is attacking these forts from the sea. We do seem to suffer quite a bit of damage from the enemy ships. or at least the enemy port guns, I guess. This damage that we are doing, I think, is largely just to the supply of the ports. Alright, we'll move them down there. But in any event, it should hinder the enemy's ability to keep their troops in Singapore supplied. Or at least hurt the British economy. One or the other, not quite sure. Alright, so we'll be driving on Singapore itself. We're going to move this garrison unit into Burma. And we're going to need to move some additional troops south. Let's see what we want to do here. Ooh, wow. These guys must have basically no supply. So we're going to attack with this army unit. We'll swap out these guys. So this army unit can aid in the attack. Are you kidding? There you go. So we wrapped up that enemy unit here that was kind of on the flank of Yunnan. Move these guys. Where can these guys go? How about these guys? Move these guys north? I sure hope I can move someone in their place. Ooh, nice. Okay. Can we force march them? No. Alright, so we're going to move these guys over here. Alright, so I can't quite move troops into Yunnan or really move them forward here. These guys already attacked. I'm going to need to operate some additional troops south. I know I don't like spending the money, but we need additional troops here in the south of China to counter the British incursion there. Meanwhile, I'm going to move some troops against these partisans in Tizung, or however you pronounce the name of the city. So we'll liberate it from partisan hands. Attack here. Damn, lost kind of heavy casualties there. Alright, so we've got two armies and a corps attacking toward Pao Tao. The troops in the south are largely just going to rest. Can we reinforce these guys? No. We can't upgrade them, but all it does is give them anti-air defense. So I'd rather avoid doing that. Meanwhile, in the south, I suppose we'll reinforce these bombers here to max strength. These guys, are they dug in at all? No, these tanks are not dug in at all. So let's move some TAC air against these guys. There's going to be some interceptors, but we've got escorts to counter that, and our fighters are better than theirs. So we'll see if we can weaken these tanks a bit. Doesn't appear like we're going to. There we go. Got a hit. And our tactical bombers or quasi-strategic bombers, I don't know. In any event, that didn't really do much at all. Lovely. Alright, let's attack here. Then we'll swap. Attack again. I don't think we're going to take the city this turn. Might destroy another Chinese unit, though. Damn. Well, we did drive them back, at least. Do we have any other units that haven't flown? Anti-air fire. Yes! Alright. I know we didn't take the city, but we did manage to destroy another Chinese unit. Which I suppose is worthwhile. We'll go ahead and reinforce these tactical bombers. None of these other guys can be reinforced because they all flew. Alright, well, we didn't take Chungking, but we did destroy one of the units next to it. Troops down here in the south are going to reinforce to full strength. These guys, I'd rather upgrade them, but it doesn't look like it'll let me. So we're just going to reinforce these troops in the south completely. The British troops down here I don't think should have a lot of supply. Some of the Chinese troops don't. Some of the British troops actually do. But in any event, we should be able to hold the line with those forces in play. We'll move closer to Singapore next turn. Mainly using the sub here for scouting down there. And then I kind of think we need to declare war on British or New Guinea. So let's do that. Okay, so the Japanese will declare war on New Guinea, which will open up Port Moresby to Japanese conquest. You can see there they landed. The capital was unoccupied, so that should give us this whole northern coast of New Guinea. Not sure about down here, Guadalcanal. We might have to move troops down there to actually take the city. More enemy shipping spotted near Fiji. It's another American destroyer. We did destroy a tank unit here a couple turns ago. I think I'm going to set these SNLEF troops, or some of these SNLEF troops, to... we should upgrade these guys to infantry weapon level 2. Alright, we're going to prepare these guys soon to move them somewhere. I don't know where the airborne's going to move, but maybe to China. China seems to suck in all our reinforcements. Alright, can the Italians reinforce these guys? They can. We can't reinforce these tanks. Can we upgrade them at all? No. Alright, these fighters are going to reinforce to max strength. This gun reinforce. Alright, so that does North Africa. Meanwhile, the Italians... let's see what we need to do in Russia first with the Italians. Are there any badly mauled Italian units that need reinforcements badly? Or even can get them? Doesn't look like I can spend reinforcements on any of them. I can upgrade my medium bombers to have better long-range abilities. So that leaves us with just 44 Italian dollars, which means we're going to spend the rest on the Navy, getting the Navy back up to par. Oops. Alright, these subs I'm going to move west. I think I might move the Italian subs into the Atlantic. These cruisers we're going to move back to the Mediterranean. Those guys are going to be sitting ducks if we leave them out there. Carriers. Ooh, it'd be nice to destroy a British destroyer. So we're going to attack this destroyer with our carrier. Have the sub move north against it. Hopefully finish it off. Nope, not at all. There we go. Finished her off. We'll move the battleships down here. Alright, so this destroyer is a level 9. This one's a level 9. They're both level 9s, so we're going to go ahead and hit... The American one doesn't have as good anti-aircraft fire, so we'll hit it with our carrier. And then we'll pull our carrier west to get it a little bit further away. Don't think I have the ability to destroy the American. That's 1-to-1. That's 1-to-3. Alright. So, by the looks of it, we won't be able to finish her off. Can any of these guys shoot at him? No. Unless... no, that cruiser can't reach. Alright, so we'll move this Italian cruiser out here on the shipping lanes. So we've got a lot of warships on the shipping lanes. I'm assuming they're going to come out and crush us at some point. But at the moment... whoops. Raider. We need to switch you to Raider. But at the moment, we're still alive. Gotta have as many of these guys set to Raider as possible. I think we pulled... did we pull these subs back yet? They're down to 1 supply. So we probably should pull them back into a port. Where's a frickin' port? Alright, we're going to pull these guys back to Narvik. if we can get in there and resupply. Meanwhile, on the Russian front, what shall we do? What shall we do on the Russian front? Honestly, I kind of want to take the turn to reinforce. This tank unit definitely needs to reinforce, but it can't fully reinforce. So we're actually going to fall back to the headquarters unit here. I'm assuming these guys can reinforce fully. Maybe not quite. It's interesting. Man, that'd be expensive to reinforce that tank all the way up. Let's see, what can we do here? There's a shock army up here. Are these guys dug in? No. Are these guys dug in? No. Yes. All right, I want to try and destroy this infantry unit here to the west of Moscow. Okay. Don't like the idea of moving these guys forward like that, but we're going to. Alright, so we moved them forward. These guys already did 2 attacks. Man, it's annoying that I can't quite reinforce some of these guys. These guys have a level 2 entrenchment, so we're going to go ahead and bomb them with strategic bombers. Now, there are going to be some interceptors, but good news, we've got some escorts. Did quite a bit of damage. Only 1 escort by the look of it. Move these infantry forward here. Did quite a bit of damage. Alright, so we'll move them forward with our mechanized unit. Attack and destroy that unit. And then pull back, put our army between. I'm trying to keep my armored units from being literally right on the front line to give them a little bit of a break. I'd prefer not to have my guys always the subject of the main enemy effort. And again, the main focus here this turn, in my opinion, is really kind of bleeding the enemy a bit. So let's see if our Stukas can maybe hit these infantry. Maybe we can destroy another infantry unit here. We could potentially go for this, actually. This unit here. I don't really know. I don't know who to attack with. Those guys are already bombed. Alright, these guys are out of supply, so we can't really do anything with them. Or not out of supply, but they're out of... Okay, we're going to pull these guys back. We're going to upgrade this core. All the way. Alright, so we destroyed multiple Russian units here, fighting a little bit of a war of attrition. Let's see. I don't really want to move my troops forward here to face enemy troops in fortifications. I think we're going to be taking a slightly more passive approach over the next few turns in the Moscow region as we kind of prepare for winter. Why can't these guys get reinforcements? I feel like we've got plenty of health around. Alright, we're going to try and crush these partisans. Almost. There we go. Got him. Alright, so the partisans are dead. These these guys we want to upgrade. The Italian troops there can't upgrade. It's kind of frustrating that those guys couldn't do anything. Again, basically no effect. Nobody can kill these bad guys. Alright, well, we just took a bunch of casualties attacking the city to no real purpose. Well, we did some damage, but not really worth it in my book. Let's see here. Alright, so that kind of does it in the north, I think. Some of these air units, some of these fighters probably could use reinforcements, but they can't get any, apparently. So we'll fly these guys forward that way, these guys forward this way. All right. Meanwhile, on the southern front, what shall we do? All right, let's attack with... I'd really rather reinforce... Well, we can't give these guys new weapons anyway because they're on the front line, so we'll have them attack. All right, move the Italians up here. Romanians down this way. Alright, so our armor did its job. We took this Russian town here in the south, and we're going to pull the armor back to avoid exposing it to too much in the way of casualties. Move our paratroopers forward here. Alright. Move our mechanized troops down here. Okay. Again, kind of destroying as many units as we can and kind of going from there. Some of these units could definitely use some reinforcements. Alright, we'll move this armor up here, or army up here. Are these guys dug in? I'm sure they are. They're in a city. I don't know. I don't really want to attack across a river. I'm guessing that river's pretty heavily fortified. Alright, so we advance kind of cautiously in the north. In the south, we'll kind of leave our options open as we kind of advance oblong a little bit. I'll leave my armor in a position where it can attack either north or south, depending on how things develop. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Do we need to move these guys around at all? Yeah. All right. So most of these locations have armor or have garrisons where they need to be. There. So we just threw one down east of Kursk. One should go here too, but I don't think we can rail anyone over there. All right, so I think that's the situation on the Russian front. We've kind of drawn in a little bit. I still feel like we did a reasonable amount of damage. I don't know if we did enough damage to overcome the actual income of Russia this turn. We can take a look, actually. Let's take a look at the reports, take a look at the graphs, look at MPPs, look at the Soviet Union. So if we look at, actually this turn, it does look like between everything that we did, assuming that this is the current turn, the Soviet income's down here, and this is the casualties inflicted. So we probably did do enough damage to them to exceed their income. So hopefully that does cause them to weaken a little bit. You can see their morale is on the decline. British morale, 90%. American morale, I'm sure, is great. Well, they're fine. 78. Wow. What are nationals? Chinese morale? 63. Germany 106, Japan 92, Italy 74. Italy, that's dangerous. We've got to keep an eye on them. Soviets have 79 ground units. We've got 84, but remember, we also have to garrison Western Europe, and in addition to that, we're also involved in the North African theater. So things we need to consider. These guys are dug in at 1. Let's see if we can bombard them, knock out their entrenchments so they don't end up with 2 entrenchments next turn. And I think... You know, the interesting thing is that one of the things that I think the game could do a better job of representing is the fact that partisans move. Like, it feels like these hexes are just automatically partisan hex, and if you stage garrisons there, you'll never have to worry about partisans rising up against you. That doesn't seem right. It does feel like that's a little bit of a cop-out. We do have $190 left over for Germany. Let's see if there's anything we can do with that diplomacy. Argentina's kind of close to joining the Axis. Oh my god, I just clicked the wrong button. So we're going to invest. I just wasted 58 MPPs, because apparently you can undo something with just an accidental click, but we're investing in Argentina. Maybe they'll swing toward the Axis. Another country that might be interesting in investing in is Turkey, although they're pretty far away from joining us. They're actually closer to joining the Allies than they are the Axis. Still something to consider. Sweden, no. Syria, not really. Most of these countries have moved pretty firmly away from the Axis orbit. The Argentines are the one exception. Even Ireland's not very close. I don't know if there's anybody else in this list. It doesn't really look like it. Yeah, so Argentina's probably the only one we could feasibly convince to join us, but we'll see. We're nearing winter of 1942. We're nearing sort of the historical American counteroffensive in North Africa. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out in the coming turns. With that being said, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this episode up here. Enough of my musing. We'll see how things turn out in, what month? What month are we in now? We're in August, so next month will be September. So yeah, we'll see how things play out in September. But until then, guys, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.